Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, or good night. What's going on? This is Dog Life Radio, and I am your host, Rossi Giugio. Welcome, welcome, all are welcome. So today, I've got another very special episode that I'm really looking forward to releasing to the general public. And so today I'm talking with Amanda Ruller. Amanda, all the way from Saskatchewan, Canada, my neighbors to the north, or I'm their neighbors to the south, however we want to look at it. Amanda is a sideline correspondent for Canadian football team and more. She's actually a Legends football player, so she's playing football. She's a performance athlete, Olympic caliber lifter, Olympic hopeful as well, and much more. So before I release the hounds, so to speak, just need to throw out there, I had a fantastic conversation with Amanda. It was a lot of fun. And I had my first encounter with some editing issues. Something happened where the beginning of the conversation did get cut off, and unfortunately it was great because we were talking about how much she loves Back to the Future, Michael J. Fox, and I think I was stumbling over trying to find the name of one of my favorite Michael J. Fox movies, Secret to My Success. I could not come up with that name. I kept thinking about the song that was being played. I think it's Walking on Sunshine. So apologies. We jump into the conversation right in the middle of how did you get involved with football? And again, you are going to enjoy this, I promise. Amanda is a really cool person, so enjoy. This is a good one. Hey, thanks for supporting the show. Remember to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, all at Dog Life Radio. Help me spread the good word too, so share the links on whatever social media you prefer. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or follow it on Podbean, Stitcher, Google Play, Overcast, or wherever you're listening. So throw up a 4-star or 4-cloud or whatever. Thank you very much. It's the best way to help others find the podcast. And as always, send me any feedback. I would love to hear from you. dogliferadio@yahoo.com. On with the show.
In love with it, and I kept going like, well, why can't I play, Dad? So he put me in kind of, touch football when I was 10 years old, just for a year or so, and then I got into other sports like track and field. But then it came about again when they introduced like the Legends Football League, and I was just like, wow, there's actually a league where women can play football on a TV at the time. So I drove my car from Canada all the way to Los Angeles, and I did an open tryout for the Legends Football League. And I remember them telling me I was too short to play because the girls are really big. They're like 180 pounds, big lineman type of girls that are, hitting these girls around. And I was like, you know what, when are your practices? So I showed up to the practices, I ran a 40, and I was super fast. So I ended up starting in one of the games, and that was it. And I started playing for the next few years there. I played for Los Angeles Temptations and Atlanta Steam. And then just recently this year, I was recruited to come be on the Team Canada World's football team. And if you guys don't know what that is, Worlds has a tournament every 4 years for nations such as like Canada and Great Britain and USA. And you go and play each other. We were fortunate enough to play in Vancouver this year against all those teams on home soil. And we ended up with a silver medal.
Oh, that's fantastic. So what position did you play?
I usually play running back in the Legends Football League, but this year they actually had an opening at DB, so I played corner in the Team Canada League, and it's really interesting being on one side of the ball, but being on the other side, it was actually super fun just to read and react for a change instead of being the one that's always being hit.
I would imagine. I would imagine it's much better to do the hitting than to be hit.
Well, yeah, I enjoy both positions, but especially when you are fast. And if you're, a running back / receiver or anything in that speedy category, you can transition to a speedy corner at the same time because, it takes that amount of speed to switch your hips and read and react the ball. Like, what if someone's just doing, a handoff to the running back? You want to be, boom, like right there or, covering that extra receiver at the same time. So I think it's a speedy position for both ends. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the amount of explosiveness and the amount of just agility needed to play at the DB position and the running back, I could see how it's similar. I guess when you get into some of the more pro level sports, in at least with American football, you start to see a little bit more bigger individuals playing running back, I guess, for that durability piece, and a little bit more speedy for the defensive backs. But I definitely see the similarities between the two.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely love the sport as an overall entity, just because it's just so, it's like poetry in motion, especially when I see everybody doing their assignments correctly. It's like a dance, because, somebody has to go there, someone has to do this, someone has to do that, the quarterback has to drop back, or whatever you have to do to make the play look so nice. And when that play is executed, it's so beautiful in my mind.
Let's see. I played the Little League football, and I played in high school, and I even was fortunate enough to play a little bit of semi-professional football. And I played one game in Canada over in Montreal, and absolutely can understand just the way that when a play is either designed and executed correctly, or on the flip side, when I played semi-pro, I was playing inside linebacker, and the way that I still remember it today, the way our defensive assignments were, primary to stop the run, you had to fill the gap, and I knew where mine was, the first on the left side, and that was my primary, and if I took care of that, everybody else would take care of theirs, and we would be successful, and it would be one of those things that would be pretty damn nice when it happens.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Yeah, it definitely, I didn't know that you played all like semi-pro and everything. That's so cool. And you went to Montreal.
Yeah.
It was a place to go check out. I suggest it for anybody listening. You can probably attest to that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It was great. This was Amanda. This was quite a few years ago when I played. I think I was 19 when I was doing it, and I remember going up with the team. We took buses up, and it was a long trip for us from, we played in the Berkshires, which is in western Massachusetts over in the Northeast, and we took a long ride up. Once we crossed the border, we had a couple of hours to kill, and I do remember the players were huge. I remember the fans were booing our quarterback, trying to compare him to, that he wasn't Troy Aikman. I'm guessing back then Troy must have been the thing in the NFL.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a cool trip.
Of course. Yeah, Montreal, anywhere in Canada is pretty beautiful, but if you're looking for two beautiful places, Montreal, Toronto, or Vancouver. I'm going to put Vancouver in there because those are beautiful places to visit in Canada.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I've been to Vancouver once before too, and I absolutely agree. It is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. Mm-hmm. So your involvement in football spans more than being a player, which is pretty damn cool. But you're actually a sideline correspondent as well, correct?
That's right. Yeah, I do it for one of the local Canadian teams that we have here, and I just actually started doing it this year, and it's been quite an experience. And they just finished up for home games here, so I'm done for the year. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, what can I do next? And I kind of fell in love with the position, and it made me think, I really want to be on TSN or ESPN. I want to be a sideline reporter for big teams or some football or whatever, basketball, whatever the future holds for me. I want to be a sports reporter. And I think that's, a lot of people have been like, wow, you actually did a really good job, just because I love the game and, I could talk about the game and with players, and interviewing players was just so much fun to me. Like, coming up with questions was one of my favorite activities to do. I would come up with, like the tough stuff, but then I came up with fun stuff, what are you watching on Netflix now? That I think, they kind of like looked at me like, okay, all right, this is a fun question. She actually is incorporating the sport with some fun stuff in there. So, yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. So you had to come up with your own stuff when you were assigned to interview a specific athlete?
Yeah, whenever we had the days where I would interview the athletes, I kind of like thought of my own types of questions,
Mm-hmm.
and that was so much fun to me. And I looked forward to it. You ever have like a job where you just look forward to going, and you're just so sad when it's over? I think I finally found that position in this work that I've been doing lately, and it doesn't feel like work. Like, I could have done this all for free and just for the experience, however. And it's been such a rewarding experience that it's pushed me to, try to apply that in other aspects of my life. Like, I'm trying to, make my YouTube channel bigger by trying to interview like athletes, like, which is really funny because I've been an athlete my entire life, so I know tons of people in the athletic field. So, why don't I utilize that and show you guys, what these guys think about, or ask some questions that other people want to know.
That's so cool. And you know what? I'll edit out that for free part. That way nobody hears it.
Oh, man. I know. I got to live, too. So it's hard because you want to do all these things for free. But you got to eat, and I love to eat. I don't even get into that, but I love, like, meat and steak and, like, all the expensive food. And I love to eat healthy, so I need some cash.
I know what you're saying. Unfortunately, it seems like the healthier that you want to eat, the more grass-fed beef and organic foods, it seems like those always cost just a little bit more, don't they?
Oh, 100%. But, I'd rather eat that than, a whole bunch of junk food that I got with, I don't know, coupon, or, here's some free chips. I'm just like, I don't really want them, though.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. So are you following any specific kind of a diet right now?
Well, right now, just because my goals are performance, so I'm following a high carbohydrate diet, and it's honestly just sticking to kind of, I made my macros personally, and because I'm a nutritionist myself, I calculated my own macronutrients, finding out how much protein, carbs, and fat I need personally, and depending on how I feel for the week, I adjust it, but it's very high carbs and kind of high fat right now, but that's for me. And, I'm not bodybuilding, and I'm not trying to step on a stage and, look the leanest. I'm trying to get up and, play football or Olympic lift, or, for performance, and get faster and stronger. So that's kind of my diet at the moment.
All right. Now, so do you also try to take in, obviously you were talking about the different proteins in steak and so forth, but the good fats, the healthy fats, some that are kind of attributed to more of the primal or the paleo type diets, like coconut oil, avocado, things like that?
Oh my goodness, yes, 100%. I only cook with coconut oil, and I try to get in the healthy fats like nuts and olives, salmon, flaxseed. Avocado is one of the huge ones that I also use. I just cut a half an avocado, and I usually eat it for a snack, which probably sounds so gross to some people. But I just eat it as is, and I've been doing this my entire life. Like, when I was even in high school, I wanted to, I was lifting weights in high school, so I wanted to beat the boys in the weight room, so I was eating healthy. Like, I came home that night, and I'm just like, Mom, like, can you make me more broccoli? Like, not knowing kind of, where to begin. So I think even from that young age, I kind of associated, I want to get stronger, so I got to eat healthier. So from there, I gained this palate where I like plain chicken, I like avocado. I'll take a bag of almonds with me, and try to get those healthy fats in, salmon, the flaxseed oil, stuff like that.
It's funny because I wish I had known what I know now about nutrition, which I don't know everything, know a little bit, but when I was 19 or when I was 18, because I think about what I was eating back then versus how I'm eating now. The simple tricks of leaving a bag of almonds in my truck, so if I get caught in traffic and am hungry, I'm not tempted to eat a candy bar or something like that, or eat one of the kids' snacks or something like that. A little bit of planning goes a long way.
Oh, 100%. People actually make fun of me a lot because when I go on work trips, like for events, I take bags of almonds or just like avocado, or I'll just take bags of like little simple granola. Like I'll take an ounce of granola or some oats, and people will make fun of me like, "Oh, you're really gonna eat that?" I'm like, "Well, of course. Like that helps me not eat what you guys are gonna eat because I go to a lot of events. So you know what are at events? Hamburgers,
Yes.
tacos, hot dogs, all the food that's gonna make me feel gross and like ill and sick. I'm like, you guys, if I eat that food, like I'm gonna not feel good, and I'm not gonna do my job, to be honest. So I can't. Like I have to eat this good food that I've packed, and even just eating those almonds actually like kind of curbs my hunger, and I don't feel like I need to have that hamburger or hot dog or whatever those guys are eating in front of me, or that coconut oil kind of like helps. Or, you know, sometimes I drink coconut milk or coconut water, and that actually really helps with, you know, hunger or electrolyte building and stuff like that. So,
yeah, it's funny because when it seems like when you do break, and you know, most people do have those situations where they do break and they fall off the diet or they splurge or cheat day. Excuse me. When it happens, it ends up turning into an avalanche. Instead of just having that one cheeseburger, it turns into, you know, 2 or 3 cheeseburgers, or you know, a cheeseburger and a mountain of French fries or onion rings or something. Where I find that when I'm staying true to the path of something that's more holistic and healthy food, I don't tend to overeat as often as I would when I do break.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's for sure. I mean, even just being prepared like that, it causes a lot of good. You know, sometimes like if you do want that hamburger, you're like, I'm going to go to Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Then I'm going to get a large fry. Oh, that's crazy big. So now I'm going to get a soda. Like, it's just making those choices. Maybe if you do, you know, you have a cheat day, you go to Five Guys, you get a water, and you don't get fries. So, you know, just stuff like that. Just, you got to have that life balance. I do understand that. But, you know, if you pick chocolate, pick dark chocolate and maybe have one piece instead of the whole bar and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you were talking a little bit about how you're doing a bit more carbohydrates, higher carb, because you are a performance athlete right now, and you're looking for that functional performance on the field or on the track or even in the gym. Now, when you kind of look to dial in your carbohydrate levels or got to that point without giving away the store, what are some of the things you look for in your own performance as you're tweaking your individual diet?
What I look for in my performance, how I'm feeling. So I've been really reading and reacting how my body feels personally. If I feel tired and I don't feel like being at the gym, because you guys, I'm going to be honest, I don't sometimes. It's because I haven't had enough carbs, so I need to boost it up. So I'll take in, you know, it's funny because I'll make a sweet potato, like half a sweet potato, and I'll take it to the gym and I'll eat it before. So I take in the carbs before the gym. And I'm even going as far to say is I take in a carbohydrate-based drink, like from a supplement shop post-workout. Or pre-workout. So if I can't have that potato, I try to stick with potatoes or like rice. Those are kind of my favorite carbs personally. So I try to take those in beforehand, and then I'll try to drink a carb drink after, just to kind of fuel my body. Because, you know, if I ever don't feel like being there and I'm just tired and I can't get through my set and I feel weak, you know, I'm like, wow, I don't have enough carbs. That's the number one thing I think about. I'm not like, oh, I got to add sugar. I never think that I need to be, you know, adding more sugar in my diet. It's like carbohydrates, because that's what's going to fuel my body, and that's what I need. Because especially it's going to help with, you know, blood flow, brain functioning, everything you need to execute, you know, high explosive movements, especially because as a football player or a lifter, you're executing these movements with high force and high velocity, and you need that type of energy to be able to execute it.
Yeah, makes sense. I've seen a lot of stuff in the health and fitness world. There's a lot of the sexiness and a lot of the attention is being placed onto these primal paleo type diets that are very, very low carb. But there's a lot of back and forth on the adding in those carbohydrates dependent upon what type of athlete you are. And I've seen it with professional strongmen. The guy, his name's Thomas Wren. I spoke with him a while back. He's in Australia, and he's going down the path of going a bit more I wouldn't say keto, but definitely more that style where he's kind of transforming his body. He's a young guy. He's huge. He's incredibly strong. He's dropping the body fat, building the strength. But then you've got people, let's see, I spoke with a Brittany Diamond, who's a professional strong woman in Massachusetts, and she's a little bit more balanced in that space. Maybe she's a little bit more already toward that ideal body style. I don't want to speak for her, but just throwing that out, that there's a lot more conversation surrounding it, even though there is a lot of focus being placed on you got to be keto and then you can get ripped and shredded.
The conversation is always going to be there because every athlete is so different that you could speak to every single athlete and they'll have a different answer. This is what works for my body. That's what works for hers. That's what works for his. Everybody's so different. And, I honestly, I did try to do keto one time, actually, a couple years ago, and it didn't work for me. And I realized that right away. I wasn't, seeing the strength gains that I needed, even though you do get a little leaner, like totally fine, but I'm very happy with my body and how it looks right now, and I was happy with it before I tried keto, and what makes me happy is when I can lift a lot of weight above my head, and that's what made me upset. I was like, man, I'm on this diet I was on it for like 6 months, and I'm like, I'm not seeing the strength gains I need. I gotta go back to the diet I was on before, and I went right back. And because I, kind of tried something else, as soon as I went right back, I saw a lot of strength gains. So who's to say what diet is right and what is wrong? But for me, I'm going to see more strength gains in the diet I have right now than a ketogenic diet, which is fine because a lot of people can do keto and it could work for them. It's just me in my position right now, and it's not for me.
And that's kind of some of the, actually, that's all of the fun of me doing these things, is where I can sit down and talk with people, because I love to hear about each person's different approach, each person's journey, what they're looking for, trying to help, selfishly, what can I learn, but also what could somebody who's listening learn? Because like you said, each person is different. Not only is every person and every athlete different, what they're doing is different, whether you're a aspiring strong or strength athlete, a CrossFit athlete, a football player, just somebody who wants to become more active to play with their kids or their grandkids or their, or themselves if they're in their 20s and they want to play in a bit more of a, I guess, I don't want to say professional sports, but it gets a little less hardcore as you get older to my age. But everything, if you can glean little bits and pieces from different people, that's where you look to test it out with yourself to try. And that's kind of where I was headed with some of those questions about what are those things you're looking for, as you're performing, to let you know, hey, maybe you need to tweak your diet a little bit. So I'm glad we were talking about that piece.
Yeah, definitely. It's up to you. What do you value? If you're feeling sleepy and unmotivated, definitely add some more carbs in your diet. You see a lot of athletes that are training for competitions such as bikini or bodybuilding, and they're not happy, they're unmotivated, they seem depleted, and I understand that's part of the game of their sport, and I have nothing against it, but to me, I really value sleep, or being able to sleep and fall asleep for the whole night, and feel rested and feel strong. So those are my goals at the very moment, and so that's why I do what I do. But I understand a lot of people have different values and goals at the time, so everybody's different. Absolutely. So you had mentioned how, and I had mentioned how you're a certified trainer. How do people get connected with you if they wanted to reach out? Yeah, for sure. So I did take my certified personal trainer exam. It seems like forever ago. About almost 10 years ago, and then I was like, what else can I do? So I got my certified exercise physiologist, and I got my certified strength and conditioning specialist, so I can be more specific with athletes and athletic goals. But I actually work with a lot of clients that are looking looking just for nutrition advice or weight loss or anything from bulking to building, and athletes as well. So if you guys are looking for anything like that, you guys can find me on my website, amandabolic.com. It kind of plays off the word like anabolic, which means to build up of muscle. And I'm such like a physio nerd. That's what I named my website.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. Oh, excuse me. So, I wanted to ask you a bit about in your bio. There's some things here about Olympic lifting. You were talking about lifting overhead. Let's talk a little bit about some of your favorite lifts. I mean, were you talking about like a clean and jerk or a strict press? What are some of those your favorite movements?
Well, my favorite lift is actually snatch. I know a lot of people don't like it, but it's one of the most complicated, coordinated movements out there. It takes so much skill to be able to take a weight that's on the ground and be able to move it all the way throughout your body and be so coordinated that you can drop under it and have it above your head at the same time. So snatch is actually one of my favorite lifts, but it's kind of my enemy because I work on it so much that it makes me like frustrated that I can't do it sometimes, because it's one of those lifts that you fail at so much because it's so complicated that when you get into it, you're gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. So that's my favorite lift.
I bet it's not your typical movement where you can go into the gym and slide into some type of machine where you rack up a couple of plates and push it and it's easy. In the failure mode, if you fail when you're doing a machine move, there's really no fear, I guess. But when you're using some of the free weights and you're moving it like you do in the snatch, I could see how it would definitely be intimidating to people.
Oh, definitely. You know what? I'm not your average girl. Like, I don't kind of go to the gym and just do a set of 10.
I could see that. I could see that based off of your Instagram account.
my rep scheme for Olympic lifting, so for example, like if I was to go to the gym and work on Oli lifting, so if I'm doing snatch, I would only do maybe 4 sets of 3, and that's at a higher percentage, like 80% or 75%. But just in those 3 reps, it takes so much brain and mental functioning and fast twitch fiber that it's very explosive, and it's kind of it works on your body like HIIT training, like cardio, because it's crazy. Like, I'm breathing heavy after I do these movements, like 3 in a row. I'm just like, okay, I gotta rest for a couple seconds. So it's always good to kind of incorporate that into your lifting style. If you ever go and you want to just do, like, I don't know, bench press or back squat, it doesn't take that much mental capacity. Well, I don't want to say that. You can just go lift the weight and you're done,
Yep.
It's not like, okay, when I go to line up for the bar, I'm just like, for snatch, I'm just like, okay, chest up, head up, back, I'm just going to bring through my body, high feet. Like, there's 6 or 7 mental cues I have to think about before I even do the movement. And I understand, there is, mental cues for, the standard lifts, but for more like back squat or bench press, you're moving a lot slower.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a little bit more time to actually think about it. Well, because I do back squat and bench and deadlift as well. So I'm not trying to rule that out. But for the Olympic lifts, it just goes by so quickly that it's just so much more focus and concentration and coordination, I think, that goes with that. So my big slogan and my quote, and you can quote me on this, is train fast and you will be fast. That's why I do Olympic lifts.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, do you? I thought I saw some CrossFit clips or CrossFit-esque type clips of yours. The snatch definitely is one that you see in the games, and is that something that you've ever considered and wanted to do or thinking about doing in terms of being the pro going for the regionals and so forth?
For me, that's not so much of a goal of mine. Like, I do enjoy doing the CrossFit, just like workouts here and there. But one of my bigger goals is I really want to be an Olympic athlete for Olympic lifting. So I'm going to keep working towards that goal first. But I don't think CrossFit is really in my in my goal right now to kind of be, a games athlete. I really want to pursue this other thing while I'm a little bit younger and have some time. And, like that's just not for me. Like I do enjoy it. Like that's totally fine. But I feel like I'm not the type of person to be a games athlete because my heart's not in it.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. My age, where I'm at, I definitely don't see that happening for me, but I really do enjoy watching it. I enjoy taking some of the aspects of the different workouts and implementing them into my own plans, into how I'm approaching working out. But there's a lot of that. I'm seeing a lot of different crossover between, typical working out, lifting weights, cardio, powerlifting, strength lifting, all of that, where they're taking the different aspects of different pieces of these and building these hybrid ones for more performance and functional athletes. And what I'm seeing with what you're doing, what you're talking about, it seems to play into that as well.
Oh, yeah. No, 100%. Like, a lot of those movements I already do or have been doing, throughout my sporting athletic career. And I think it's such a wonderful thing to see other people doing that, especially people that didn't think they could do a handstand, and they come to CrossFit and they work hard and all of a sudden they're able to do that. They're just so excited. That's something that you don't see. It's very rare to kind of see that, and I love it. I love the community that it builds for people out there that don't know what they want to do with their fitness goals or career, and it's just amazing, and it's a great community.
Yeah, that's probably the most valuable piece that I've seen across the different, athletic endeavors that I've taken in my life, whether it be when I was playing football, when I was lifting, whether it was, when I trained Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and things like that. The community, the subculture of each individual aspect, the group together, the working at this one specific task, the passion that each person brings to the table with it is fantastic. And seeing that in the health and fitness area, it's becoming so much broader in the sense of, I don't think you see people saying CrossFit is the only way or powerlifting is the only way. This is what I'm training for, to be the world's best deadlifter, but I am taking all these different aspects of these different workout types and bringing them together, and that's the community. So it's almost broadening it.
Oh, yeah, of course. Like, I work out at my CrossFit gym, and I, do some of the workouts and do Olympic lifting there, and they invited me to do a CrossFit competition with one of the groups as a team, and we did one of the team workouts, and I've never done one before, with 4 different individuals, and it was so much fun. Like, I had so much fun just trying to do all these workouts with these friends, and we did pretty good, so it was amazing.
That's so cool. That's definitely something I've seen, at least in my lifetime. I started working out when I was in my my early teens, which was, like I said before, a long time ago. They didn't have CrossFits, they didn't do this, and for the most part, the only type of group-type workout activities that were happening were, I would call it almost like jazzercise types of things. They were typically only for women. Men didn't do them. There weren't any of these boot camp type approaches. But to see it evolve over the past 20 plus years, the group accountability, it takes a village working at it together, is definitely something you can see you see it in the powerlifting and the strength athletes as well as the CrossFit. That brings a totally different dynamic into the actual workout, and it's so cool to see people driving each other. So it's not necessarily I'm lifting less than you, but we're just pushing each other to be the best individuals that we can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. It's such a great community aspect, and that's why I love it.
Cool. Okay. Hey, I want to change directions really quick here. Something else I saw in my cyber sleuthing of Amanda was about a car, and The Price is Right.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. I won a car on The Price is Right.
That's so cool. So the host of Price is Right. Who was the host when you won the car?
Drew Carey, because it was recently.
That's so cool.
It was the end of 2015, and then it aired 2016.
That's awesome.
I won a 2015 Hyundai Sonata.
That's amazing. Okay, so for people who don't know how you win a car on The Price is Right, how did you win the car?
Okay, so Like, this is a long story. And they said, oh, we ran out of Ellen tickets. Here's some free Price is Right tickets. I was just like, oh, do you guys want to go to that? They're like, sure. So we go there, and I'm sitting in my seat, and all of a sudden I hear my name. Amanda Ruller, come on down. So then I start freaking out, and I went up to the stage, and they had these 2 Apple laptops or something, and they said, what's the value of these laptops? And I was the last one to guess, and everyone was guessing super high, and I'm like, I have no idea. And I guessed $1. Yes, that is correct. I'm that person. I guessed $1, and everyone was over, so I won. That's
awesome.
So I got to go up on stage, and I probably am the first person to ever flex on Drew Carey, because I was flexing and like showing my muscles. He was like, oh, okay, well, how many pull-ups can you do? And I was like over-exaggerating, like about 100, Drew, of course. And of course. And they had this game high-low.
Yep.
So they have these huge dice. I don't know if you guys don't know what it is. They have that kind of craps table, and they have this huge die that you get to throw. And I had to guess the number of the car, and I actually... whatever I threw was the right numbers, and I won the car.
That's so cool. That is so cool.
Yeah. It's like 1 in a million chance. And because I'm Canadian, they had to actually give me the money. So I didn't have a car at the time because I actually just got in a car accident because actually a drunk driver hit me and like totaled my car like the week before.
Wow.
So what a story. So
no kidding.
So I won this car, and I said to him, I was like, I actually needed this, Drew. And he was like, wow, like that's so cool. So I took the money and I bought myself a car.
So do you still have that car?
I do.
Excellent. Very cool. I was looking, and I'm like, so I think we connected through Instagram, and it was one of these things when I reached out and you agreed to be on the show. I was, looking at your bio, and maybe I was doing that before I reached out to you, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. She's so heavily involved in health and fitness and nutrition and football. This is phenomenal. What? She won a car on The Price is Right. What? I don't even know what to do with that, but that was so interesting.
Yeah, of course. I have a lot of treasures. So
I would say so.
I'm a Price is Right car winner.
Well, absolutely. That compounded with the fact that you love Back to the Future, I think that's a winner. Winning combination right there.
Not your average person, I think.
That's for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see. I got another different question for you. So do you follow the NFL, American football? And if so, what teams do you follow?
I like the Chicago Bears. I don't know if you're a Bears fan.
I'm almost ashamed to say who my team is because they stink very badly this year.
Who's your team?
I'm a Giants fan.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
I gotta own up.
Oh man, yeah. No, that's fine. Oh my gosh, I love watching football in any aspect. Especially, they have the Grey Cup. I don't know if you guys know what that is, America, but It is the Canadian Super Bowl, and it's coming up on the 26th of November, and I'm going for the whole, like they have this Fan Fest week, so I'm going to Fan Fest week. It's actually going to be in Ottawa, so I'm very excited for that.
Oh, that's cool. I knew about the Grey Cup because, who was it? It was Doug Flutie? Didn't he he brought one of the teams for like a couple of years in a row? I think.
He's actually probably one of the best ambassadors from Saskatchewan to come into, because everyone goes, oh, Doug Flutie, I know Doug Flutie. And I'm like, yes, yeah, exactly.
Well, I know Doug Flutie just because he was from, he went to Boston College, and I was from Massachusetts originally, so kind of one of those things there. And aside from that, I'm a little light on Canadian football players. I think Warren Moon played for the CFL.
Yes, he sure did.
He might not be a good ambassador, though, I don't think.
No, 100% actually. He's a very good ambassador. We had a CFL Fan Fest week actually in Regina, or in my hometown here, like a couple months back, and he was here. And I finally got to meet him, which was very cool.
That's cool. All right. Okay. Let's see. Another shifting topic question. This was great. I loved how you thought of the Netflix thing. I'm a huge fan of Netflix as well. Mm-hmm. What are you watching on Netflix?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm actually re-watching Friends.
Seriously.
Seriously, okay, you guys, this was such a good crafted show, and the chemistry between these 6 actors was amazing that I have to rewatch it, and I'm rewatching it right now, and I'm on season 4, and it's amazing. It reminds me of a simpler time when we didn't have cell phones or access to the internet. Because a lot of their problems like happen around like not being able to get in touch with someone or like Googling something.
That seems very fair. Yeah, it's funny. I was literally, and I'm not making this up, but I watched probably 5 episodes, I think, yesterday of Friends.
Oh man!
A little binge watch. I was taking some downtime. I'm recuperating from being sick, so I happened to watch it. So you've been watching Friends on Netflix, okay?
Yes, and I just finished Narcos.
Yep, that's. Did you watch the second season of that one?
Yes, I did.
I have not watched it. I watched the first season. That was incredible. I think I started the second season, but I have to keep going with that one.
Please, if you get some time, watch the second season of Narcos. I watched the first season, and I was already hooked, and it's amazing.
All right, awesome. What about Stranger Things? Have you seen that one?
Ooh, yeah, I watched the first season, and I'm on like the 3rd episode of the second season already, and I do quite enjoy that. It's such a good show. It's very clever. It's got that creepy aspect. The characters are phenomenal, and oh my gosh, I love film and cinema, and I think that I'm a huge fan of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they did that one very, very well, and the first season was phenomenal. And I'm looking forward to jumping into the second season as well. Very cool stuff. Okay, let's see. One last question for you. Do you follow mixed martial arts, the UFC? George St. Pierre, obviously the big Canadian star.
Yes, the big Canadian star at the moment. He came back. Everyone loves him right now. I do follow it. I try to go to the local. It's called the Canadian Brew House. Mm-hmm. we all gather there and watch UFC.
That's awesome.
So we do that, and it's super fun, and it's always like cool to see those guys because they train so hard, so very hard, and few people kind of understand that except for athletes, what they're going through, or how much training it took and how much dedication, and to me it's inspiring. So whenever I watch these guys fight, I'm just wow, like this is insane. Like, I just want to go to the gym right now and work out.
They definitely do have that type of impact on you. And seeing George come back the way he did, he's definitely one of those inspirational athletes, and having such a huge following. I figured I'd throw that out there. The odds are, the UFC 217, I think, was just last weekend. And what are the odds? I'm talking to a fellow Canadian. Might as well throw it out there.
That's right. Oh my gosh, he's such an inspiration. Like, when I see him, all I see is hard work, dedication, and just such an upstanding guy. And I couldn't be prouder and happy for him.
That's so cool. All right, awesome. So, this has been a fantastic talk. I totally appreciate you taking the time out of your day. Actually, wait, I want to ask one more question about the Olympics. You were talking about your training towards that. Do you have any immediate goals with that space? Are you looking to get into the Olympics the next time it comes around for lifting, or what are your thoughts there?
Well, my thoughts right now is I'm going to try to make the world's teams coming up, and I think once I make the world's team, then I can make a better judgment call on where my standing is, just because I've always been a 58 kg class, and I was coming in as a 55, so that's kind of like 125 pounds trying to compete in like 130 something event. And so I was closer to the lower end of that, so I decided to cut some weight and be a 53. And at a 53, I'm very strong for that weight class, so I'm trying to see what world's events I can qualify for, and then from there I can make a judgment call to see, am I ready this time around, or maybe the next cycle of Olympics. And which is cool because the Olympics is definitely something that I've always had a goal in mind for, and I trained bobsled and skeleton, trying to make it in there, and I was just like, well, what else can I do? And I did track and field Olympic trials 3 times and didn't quite make it at all. Like, what can I do next? What can I do next? How can I make this dream become reality? And I'm just going to keep plugging away and see how it goes, but I'm not sure this time around, so I'll let you know. I'll let you know how close I get after this season.
Awesome.
So we're about to start it up right away.
Very cool. So you trained for the skeleton?
Yeah.
That's the one where they go down? Is that where they go down face first on the sled, similar to the bobsled? There's no shell. It's like they're on a sled going down face first, going 60, 70, 80 miles an hour?
Of course, and we actually had a record high one time. It was like 90 miles per hour one of the days. I used to train in Lake Placid, New York, and that was one of the highest days we ever got because the ice was so slick. And when it gets that slick, it's it's kind of dangerous. But you're going face first down an ice chute. You're getting close to the ice. The oscillations kind of take you wherever they want, and you just got to make sure you control your sled and get to the bottom of the hill fastest. That's
crazy. Oh my God. That's crazy. And isn't so I've seen it, excuse me, I've seen it on TV. You wear a helmet and then you're wearing this bodysuit. Is there any armor or padding in the suit?
No. When you actually do the races, there's no armor padding. You want to be as light as possible because you have to do weigh-ins. So no, there's nothing protecting you. It's just kind of helmet. But definitely during training, because the training can take a lot of toll on your body. If you're just starting out, you can use pads in you want to do hips because your hips hit a lot, or your elbows. So you want to do that, or a lot of my suits actually have duct tape on them because you drag on the ice a lot. And
oh my gosh, that's so nuts. That is a crazy sport. For all of the different sports and things that I've done and all of that, skeleton is probably it is definitely in the list of I don't want to try that.
Are you sure?
I'm fairly certain that if you brought me up to the top of the hill and said, "Here's your helmet, buddy. You want to give it a shot?" I'm not 100%, but I'm fairly comfortable saying I think I'll pass on that one.
I mean, I used to train in Calgary. I think they have skeleton classes. You can go try it out still.
Well, I'm never going to say never because you never can tell, but I'm okay right now.
Awesome. No worries.
Cool. Amanda, thank you again so much. But before we wrap up, you mentioned your YouTube channel. Do you want to plug that, your Instagram account, any other social media? You can hit your website once again. That would be great.
Perfect. You guys can find me on my website, amandabolic.com. You guys can hit me up on the IG at Amanda Ruller. You guys can always tweet me at Amanda Bolic, or you can add me to the Snapchat, Ruller number 2 and A, and that's it. And you guys can contact me on any social media.
Thank you so much, Amanda.
Awesome. Thanks for having me today.
All right. And that's a wrap, folks. The wonderful Amanda Ruller, thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed that one. So remember to follow her on Instagram. Remember to go out and have some fun, people. Till next time. Peace.